Hey, welcome to Adventures in Trucking with Indiana Jack. Today is part 2 of our trip going up to Lake Shasta, California. Also kind of a background of me, since I get requests and email. Everybody wants to know how I got started in filmmaking, how I got started in trucking. Last week's video and this one kind of tell you just some brief things about how I got started in doing that. So I'm going to share another story today as we continue our trip up I-5 now up to Lake Shasta, California. Stay tuned. Alright, we're just getting out of this rest area here in Dunnigan, California. Up 5 in Arbuckle, California. On our way to Lake Shasta. I keep saying Lake Shasta, but it's actually Shasta Lake, which is a city near Lake Shasta. Started with making films. I've always had a passion for that, and we had a family friend back in the 60s actually named Lisa Reeves, and her mom worked at Universal Studios and was a very high up. She worked for Herb Steinberg, he was one of the executives there, and Lisa, who was my friend, her brother went out, or her sister went out with my brother. She actually went on to be a star in her own way and did a lot of films and stuff, one being the Pom Pom Girls. She was in that. If you look on Internet Movie Database, she's there, and she did a lot of television and You Light Up My Life. She was in that movie. Just a lot of smaller roles, but except for the Pom Pom Girl, she was a primary actress. So her mom, who worked at Universal, I called her mom because I had such a passion to work for a studio, especially Universal back in those days. Because at the time, and it might still be, Universal was the biggest, busiest motion picture studio that there was. So she told me, sure, come on by, have your resume ready, and I'll send you to some of the departments, and you can try to get on. She said no guarantees, so I did. And I applied and put my application in, and they all said, okay, well, when we have an opening, we'll give you a call, Jack. And man, I was in heaven, but I didn't want to wait for somebody to give me a call. I wanted to do it right now, you know, like everybody. So I saw these little studio security cars driving around on the lower lot at Universal Studios Hollywood, and on my own, I went and found out how I could work for the security department, because I didn't care what I did. I knew that if I did that, I would get my foot in the door to do other things, you know, make movies myself and learn how to do it. And I was only like 19. So I got a job doing that, and so I worked all night on the night shift at Universal Studios. So in the day was my playtime. So I would spend my days going to the different shooting companies that were shooting on the lot at that time And the way that I could do that was at night, every night, they would put out it was like a schedule of what was shooting on the lot on the next day. So I knew where to go, what trucks were going to be there, what stars, what they were going to be shooting and everything. So I knew everything. I knew what I was going to do the next day. So I would always pick out my favorite show to go hang out on and learn how to make movies myself. And at that time, this was in 78, 79, and part of 80, BJ and the Bear was shooting on the lot at Universal. So I got to where I would go there just about every day because I had a passion for filmmaking and I had a passion for driving a truck. So I'd look and see they were usually shooting either on the lot or in Burbank or Lake Piru or up on Angeles Crest Highway. No matter where they were, I'd go there as long as it was in driving distance to Burbank. I had a ball, man. I always considered that to be my college of how to make movies. I would just hang out, watch them, how to set up everything, watch the director. Most important thing about making movies, where they place the camera. So if you're a young filmmaker yourself, that's the most important thing, other than the script, is where you place that camera. So all those things I really learned a lot hanging out on BJ and the Bear set, and they're great memories. It wasn't just BJ and the Bear, but since you guys are mainly a trucking audience, that's what appeals to you, I'm sure, because it's what appealed to me. The monkey they had on the show, his real name was Sam. The guy that was the handler for him always would bring on the set a trailer that Sam would ride in, a compartment, but it also contained a tiger. And one day I asked him why he always brought a tiger to the set, not just Sam the monkey. And he told me because they were trying to get that tiger accustomed to being around people, because they didn't just handle Sam the monkey, they handled many other kind of animals, and that tiger was one. So I mean, I would have never trusted the tiger enough to put my hand in the cage, but I always thought that was interesting that, you know, that they had a tiger there on the shoot. Another thing that's of interest to you guys, since you guys are into trucking, there were 2 trucks that they made, 2 Kenworths that were the truck that BJ and the Bear used. And I would always see the 2 trucks sitting on the lot, and I actually have some video or film footage of the 2 trucks sitting side by side. I wish I could find that. I'm working on trying to get that, because that would be awesome to see. I'm sure that if you took the Universal Studios tour back in that era, I'm sure there's a lot of tourists that also have footage of those 2 trucks sitting side by side, because they were always sitting in the same place on the lot, on the transportation lot, right there with all the other camera cars that they used. So those were some good times. I still have friends on my Facebook page from that era, and we've remained some of my best friends even to this very day. I always say that the people you meet in your early 20s are the people that you will have in your database of friends forever. So, and that's certainly been true for me. Some of those friendships from back then, I'll never forget the fun times we had going to Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake, right there by the studio, and just had a great time. So that's how I got into filmmaking. that's just like a very, very small part of it. But as far as the interest that you guys would have because of your interest in trucks, there's always been an interest in BJ and the Bear, and that's my relationship. I was never part of the payroll. I was never on the payroll. I was just a kid hanging out there, being annoying. That is not good, having a bicycle in the middle of the road like that, mister. I'm trying to find this place. This is way out in the back hills. In the backwoods. It doesn't seem like an area where trucks belong, but this wouldn't be the first.
Destination on the right side in 350 feet.
700 feet. Museum. There we go.
Approaching destination on the right side in 350 feet.
Well, these kind of little places usually will take their load even though it's late. Because they're probably not doing anything else.
Destination in 300 feet on the right side.
3415, that's it right there.
Arrived at your destination on the right side, 3415. Bronze Court.
Yeah, where do trucks go? Truck entrance down there. Oh, no trucks allowed. Great. This is a perfect example of places that give the wrong address. They should give the shipping address, which is around the other side. That's great. At least this is big enough to turn around, though. Alright, if you're a new trucker, don't do what this trucker did. Always look it up on the satellite. Although the satellite wouldn't have shown anything different. The satellite didn't show that, wouldn't have shown that little fence down there. There's somebody on my Facebook page that's called True Blue. I don't know if they have anything to do with this, but the name of that company is True Blue. Maybe they drive for True Blue. Well, let's see, can I get back from here? No, can't get there that way. I did read the directions for this, and it didn't say enter off of different street. we've arrived. Truck entrance. Well, hey, they just finished unloading me, so I'm on to my next adventure. I'd like to thank you for riding along with me, and appreciate you being here. Make sure that you stop by the Facebook page. We have a lot of things going on there. We like to talk about trucks and all kind of things like that, the things that are going on in the trucking industry. And you can find me there at facebook.com/Indiana Jack. We'll see you next time.